heated debate, actually. One of the most heated we've had in a long time. We'll see what unfolds in the next couple of days. Dennis Allen with the Raiders. Keep him or give him the boot. No.
Keep. I think the Raiders actually have some talent. I think they're gonna end up with Jadeveon Clowney in the draft despite drafting 5. And I think this team does have some talent. I think, give him another year. And if this team cannot respond again, then you can get rid of him. They're just starting to come together. Rashad Jennings is running well. They did have the issue, but Matt, the quarterback, getting injured, Terrell Pryor. But McGloin stepped in. He played well as well. Add a couple of talented players, young players from the draft. Give him one more year. But he is definitely inching towards that I'm out spell.
I'm going to agree here with Noah. I believe that he deserves more time in Oakland. They were looking... I personally, this was one of my favorite teams of the year. Even though they didn't do great in this season, I really did like this team, especially what Terrell Pryor has shown in potential. And I think that potential was shown starting with the coach, choosing him to be their starting quarterback, even though he has that history of being obviously a little undisciplined. I don't know how to explain it, but Terrell Pryor doesn't have a great personal history, but I still feel that it was the right decision going with him, and I think it took a lot of guts to go with him. And that shows a coach who can really make a strong decision for his franchise.
I think for the Raiders, it's going to be an uphill battle to make it up to the top. Yes, listen, the defense is lacking, but that doesn't mean you give up on Allen just like that. I think he still has what it takes to be a good coach. I think the Raiders are moving in the right direction. If they just don't mess anything up and stick with him, who knows? 5 years from now, we might see seeing as the Oakland Raiders as a playoff team. Now, we know Rex Ryan is staying. But your personal opinion, no.
I think he should stay as well. Honestly, he did get them to 2 AFC championships, and then they did drop off. But he did a good job with this team. And honestly, I hate Rex Ryan personally. I think he's kind of he's a douche. He's not a great guy.
Okay, dude, what is up with you cursing on my show?
That is not a curse.
It is. You just not okay. Perhaps a female cleansing element one might use on a warm summer's day.
Okay, he is a
female cleansing element one might use on a warm summer's day.
Not a nice person, but he led them to a shot. They had a shot at the playoffs. They didn't get there. Unfortunately, I wanted them to make it. I like Geno Smith. I don't think he's the answer for them, but I think that he should be there for another year. And if they continue to go in the direction they're going right now, they're going to just keep getting better. They improved a lot from last year. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Going on this point, I'm going to say that it's hard with Ryan, but I feel like he's been mediocre too long, and sometimes it's not okay to be mediocre. I feel like going on past success, but he's had time at this mediocre spot, and you look at other teams that have proven that mediocre teams taken over by extraordinary coaches, it's sometimes the best way to go.
Forget whether or not you like Rex Ryan. Personally, I thought he should have been fired after this season, no matter what happened. But he took a train wreck. He took a very dysfunctional team and made them finish 8-8. This isn't all on Rex Ryan's shoulders, but I gotta say, he handled things well. I think he's actually earned himself another year. And lastly, Leslie Frazier. We go to our local Vikings expert.
Our local Viking expert, Carl Moglen. Oh, wait, that's me. Huh. Well, from what I'm hearing on the Viking Wire, I don't know what it's called, from the Vikings beat reporters, it seems that Frazier is likely out, and that is almost guaranteed, but Adrian Peterson believes so much in Leslie Frazier that he's going to talk to both the GM and the owner about keeping Frazier. It'll be interesting to see how they react to that, but it looks like Frazier, bearing a miracle, is going to be out as the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
No.
You know what? I agree that he should be gone. I think he coached them terrifically last year. He got them in a miracle. Nobody thought they would do that, but this year was just not good enough from him. And you could tell after the game, personally congratulating every single player, saying thank you, because I think he knows that his time there was done. I think that he knew that he is going to be moving on to a no coaching job. And I like Leslie Frazier personally, but I just don't think he is the right fit for that Minnesota team.
Here's an idea. Bring back Brad Childress. Kidding. Don't freak out on me. Tony Dungy. I know that they might have been in talks before. I think those didn't come through, but maybe you try again. Turn things around. Make Freeman your starting quarterback. Give him a chance. I mean, there was no stability here. You either have one quarterback or you have no quarterback when it comes to the NFL. It was just, there wasn't a solid leader on this team. But yeah, I think it was a tough position for Frazier. He couldn't dig him out of it. But yeah, I think his time has come. Anybody else?
I guess bringing up, I didn't actually say a lot of opinion on that. It will be very interesting whoever the coach is of the Vikings, how they look to go next year, looking into the draft. Biggest question for the Vikings: do you take a quarterback, or do you focus on fixing a defense that was one of the worst in franchise history? It's going to be the question. They face Matt Castle, has shown promise in multiple games, but obviously their situation has not been good, so it'll be interesting to see how they react to this.
Last one, for real this time. Jason Garrett, Noah.
Wow. You know what? I don't like Jason Garrett. I think he's going to end up staying, but I don't think he should. But then again, based on Jerry Jones' reaction after the game, which I'm pretty sure he mouthed a swear word, but you know what? I think he's going to end up staying, but Jerry Jones obviously not happy, and he is skating on thin ice, very thin ice. It's basically water, but it's just a little bit.
He's walking on water. Did you just compare Jerry Jones to Jesus?
I said almost.
He's almost Jesus?
Okay. No.
You're digging yourself into a hole like Jason Garrett would.
I mean, Jason Garrett isn't digging himself into a hole because he's on water. He'd be drowning. You can't dig into water.
So Jason Garrett is not...
Don't you know that you can't dig into water?
Don't you know that Jerry Jones is not an almost Jesus? God, Noah. Carl.
I'm not sure how to respond to this. All I will respond to that, I think Garrett... It's hard to say with this whole franchise. I mean, look at this. They've lost 3 games the last 3 years to division rivals to put them other team into a playoff and winner or go home game, and they've lost all 3. But Garrett has proven he can take this franchise there. It's just the question of, it's how long do you want to stay mediocre? How long do you think it's going to take to get to that next level? And that's the problem with these teams. Is there a better coach out there? Do you feel like you can go out and get a guy who can change your franchise? Or do you feel like you need to stay with the guy you have there?
First of all, I think we can agree on our hashtag this time. How about hashtag almost Jesus? Does that work?
I will live with that one.
Almost Jesus. Here it is. Hit us up with the hashtag almost Jesus. What do I think about Jason Garrett? I think it's time for him to go. I also think it is time for Callahan to go. I think it is time for Monty Given to go. Clean sweep. And finally, we can overthrow the man at the top, Jerry Jones, and whoever the guy was taking his shirt off in frustration. That's an interesting way to cope. Angrily taking your shirt off. Angrily strips.
Is that like a strip club or something?
Yeah, it's when you're really angry, though. Like, when you throw off your clothes, but angrily.
Like you did after the Heat won.
I kept my clothes on, I believe.
No, but you threw your phone.
I threw my phone. I don't wear my phone.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure you have at times.
Let the record show that I, Jake Liker, host of Rookies Roundup, am not an angry stripper.
Let the record show that I would like to question that.
Let the record show that you're not going to be able to, because there's nothing to question. We gotta say, although we've been tough on coaches, it's time to go in the opposite direction. Who is the coach of the year? Carl gets to go first this time.
Oh, this is a very hard question. When I look at the NFL, I see multiple coaches who really have a chance at getting this award. You look, obviously, Andy Reid taking the team that was picking first overall in Kansas City, transforming their team even without that first overall pick, really making a huge difference. Kansas City now in the playoffs. You look at another coach, new coach to the league even, Chip Kelly, taking an Eagles team that was stuck in mediocrity and finally pushing them into the playoffs. And then it's just, I believe between those two guys who really transform franchises is how I see those two. In the end, I have to take Andy Reid though. An 11-5 record, a year after one of the worst seasons in Chiefs history. Andy Reid transformed this franchise along with quarterback Alex Smith and made this team a team that many thought were going to be the top team in the AFC and still have a chance in these playoffs to be something great. I believe that the Chiefs coach Andy Reid deserves Coach of the Year, and I believe he will win it as well.
No.
Yeah, I agree. Andy Reid is the coach for me for Coach of the Year. Came in, as you said, one of the worst years in Chiefs history. One where they had a lot of expectations. A lot of people thought they would be a playoff team, and they just weren't that team. And then they come into this year with not really that expectation, I would have to say. And Andy Reid helped them make that push. But, Philadelphia, first of all, they filled that coaching position great. They lost a coach who I thought was a great coach, and I don't think Chip Kelly would do this well, but he has proven that he can be a great NFL coach as well. But Reid, Coach of the Year, not really a question for me on that one.
I think the only guy that could really challenge Reid here, I think Reid is going to be Coach of the Year. The only guy that I could consider challenging him, only if they had made the playoffs, would this be a discussion? Bruce Arians. Coming in first-year coach at Arizona.
True. I think that is a very good... We're kind of overlooking, but without making the playoffs, even though he did have 10 wins...
In the NFC West, no less.
I mean, he was very, very impressive. I just do not see the voters going for this. I mean, I feel like he's a very deserving coach, and I feel like in a couple of years, and even next year, especially with St. Louis getting that second overall pick, the NFC West is easily going to be the strongest division next year.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt, 4 teams that I wish could make the playoffs, but you can't have 4 teams make the playoffs. They had a chance coming in to have 4 teams at 500 or above, obviously, Seattle beating St. Louis, but I do not see a stronger division in football, and it's just going to get stronger with all the teams looking to be in a really nice position, really.
Yeah, Rams can get a good draft pick. Cardinals are looking up. Seahawks and Niners are still some of the best in the league. It'll be interesting to see how everything turns out, but I think we can all agree Reid's Coach of the Year. Now, I think we're going to skip the draft order for this one. I think that there's so much to talk about. We're going to talk about player predictions. We can save it for the next show. I think it's time to go right into the awards ceremony. Our MVP goes to everybody's favorite Jesse Palmer, who saved Chris Fowler's life by giving him the Heimlich maneuver during the halftime of the Pinstripe Bowl between Notre Dame and Rutgers. Baseball goes to Buffalo Wild Wings. On the night of the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl, this was also the night of USC 168, I believe, between Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva. Buffalo Wild Wings opted to show...
One Buffalo Wild Wings chain, we should say.
One.
This is not the entire franchise. We do not know how many, truly. We have a picture evidence of one.
Photographic evidence. They picked to show the UFC 168 battle over their own bowl game, the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl. Eesh, that really says something about bad bowl games. Finally, sympathy goes to the media at the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl. They ran out of pizza at the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl, and nothing strikes a chord with me like lack of pizza.
It's true. Being with Jake for the past almost over half a week now, I have found a few things, and one of them is that he's extraordinarily picky and only likes Italian food such as pizza.
That is not true.
He also likes Mexican food.
Yes, thank you.
And that's about it.
That's more of an accurate statement than Angry Stripper, at least, which has absolutely no relevance to it whatsoever.
But don't worry, he's still hashtag almost Jesus.
So is hashtag Jerry Jones. There you go. That's our show. Episode 22. I think this was a good one. We stayed streamlined, and yet we had our laughs. I think we continue to improve As long as we don't change something, like